All right, here comes a big truck full of lumber coming down. Let's see if we can zoom in and get his license plate. It's going a little bit too fast on that one. There's another one. Let's see. There's a guy going down the road with that big ass truck full of wood. That's some bullshit right there. Cutting down the trees out here in the redwood forests. These are the trees that we need to breathe, okay? These trees make fresh air for you and me and everybody else that lives on this planet. You got that? Okay, so we don't need to cut any more down. We can use bamboo and concrete and hemp fiber for all our building material needs and for paper, toilet paper, very nice paper, very nice toilet paper. The Constitution of the United States of America was written on hemp paper, by the way. And our founding fathers would never have allowed the banning of cannabis. So that is unconstitutional because it's a violation of our civil liberties, our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because you have the right to plant whatever plant you want to grow in your garden because you are a free person, okay? And you have the liberty to decide which plants you want to grow in your garden, right? Because you have the liberty, right? You have freedom of choice. That's what liberty is, just so you know. You have freedom of choice, freedom to make your own decisions. We want to save what's left of the natural world. We don't want it to go away. So we hope and pray that every day you do everything that you can do to make that true. That's just some free verse spitting by the word of God. I'm an all-faith minister here to help you. And I hope that you can understand that and see that these trees are here to help you too. So please water your trees during these hot days, these warm days. The more you water your trees, the more they'll be able to soak up that sunlight and make oxygen. Oh, here's another one. More trees going out the door, folks. They're cutting down those trees by the truckload as fast as they can, folks. Okay, there needs to be a heat tax, not a carbon tax, and probably a lumber tax as well. So, you know, there's a giant fine for anyone who cuts down any further trees, because we don't have to cut them down to prevent forest fires. We can set up irrigation in the forests using wells. You dig a well in the ground, you put up a tower out of metal above it, okay? You get some solar panels and a little vertical axis wind turbine at the top of the tower. Got that? I hope you get that image that I have in my mind. I hope that you receive that too, because that's what I'm trying to communicate to you. Goodness gracious. Folks, I just want to thank everyone for listening today and hearing the words that I say. I'm not trying to lead you the wrong way. I do believe that the climate is changing. That is very obvious. What is not obvious is the cause. If they knew the cause, they would have a solution that worked and didn't keep heating the climate. I'm sorry to yell, but it's a little bit intense when you receive communications that you didn't necessarily think of yourself, if you can understand what I'm saying. So, for the benefit of all, I release this message to the world. And the world, I pray that you hear me. Please save the bees, save the trees. We need them all. Get rid of Monsanto, the one Satan, Monsantano, who had to change their name because they had too much controversy. All of their products need to be banned. We don't need chemicals that are going to kill plants. If you get up off your lazy asses, off the fucking TV, off your smartphones, off the screens, and go outside and pull out the fucking weeds out your garden, you won't need the damn chemicals that are poisoning everybody, poisoning the plants and animals in the earth, okay? So stop believing the lies that they tell you on the Fox News. That's F-A-U-X. Sorry, the faux news. My bad. Well, you can look at the court documents. I guess F-O-X. Fox has already publicly admitted in court that they don't really tell the truth. They just kind of tell stories, you know. It's entertainment, quote unquote. It's not actually facts that they promote. Just in case you didn't know, the legal behind the news media that you believe just because your friendly reporter on TV told you it was true. Here's another one. These guys, I tell you what. Where is that? There he goes. Yep, I see him. Okay. All right, guys. So please, let's see those. Oh yeah, where's that positive vibes? Let's see them. Yeah, let's end this in positive vibes. I don't want to have a negative message, you know, or I don't want you to think I'm filled with hate. I'm definitely not promoting hate. What I'm trying to tell you folks is that it's not quite too late. Okay, we can turn the situation around. Okay, we can turn the situation around. Just repeat this to yourself. Tell yourself this: if you ever get distracted or upset or someone's trying to mess with you, maintain your positive vibes. How you doing, sir? No, not at all. Just making a little video recording nature. Do you mind if I include you since you stopped by?
What's that?
I'm making a video. Do you want to be on the internet?
No, thanks.
Okay, no problem. I understand. Hey, God bless her. Take care.
I've seen you. Wasn't you here a half hour ago?
Not here. I'm making my way down, but I was earlier.
I went to Brookings. There was
I was in Brookings.
There was a white rig here when I went to Brookings.
Oh no, I wasn't here
I
earlier.
thought maybe it was you broke down.
There's a lot of these little vehicles out here, you know. Thanks. Well, that was pleasant. See, communication resolves problems, folks. I was starting to get a little bit stressed out talking about all that negative stuff, but isn't that kind of funny how that works, right? We started talking about positive vibes, and a really nice guy came and pulled up. Didn't want to show his face on the internet. Can't blame him. I'm not either, obviously. So anyhow, but you hear my voice. You know I'm real. I'm a person. I'm not a bot, right? So there he goes. Where's that guy? Thank you, my friend from California. Oh, here comes another one of these trucks. Peace and love, bro. Peace. Yeah. Got it. You got that message. All right, guys. Take care. God's. Here's how I want you to say this now. God's bless. G-O-D-S. There is more than one, but the G-O-D, like the capitals G-O-D, I've come up with a new term for that. It's like the grand old dynamic, right? It's like this ancient universal force. It's like the very fabric of the universe, basically. And that's why the classic definitions of God say that God is what connects us all. And God, we are all a part of God, and God is all a part of us. So if you understand that meaning of God, then maybe, just maybe, this situation is going to improve on this planet. That's my hope and my prayer for you today. Please take care today. I love you all. God's bless. Namaste. I'm out. Audi 500. About to drive through the redwood forest in California and pray for the trees. Hopefully we get these watered. We don't want the trees to die. We want them to live forever and ever. Let's put them on other planets too. Take some of these seeds to Venus, or probably Mars for the trees, and maybe some tropical plants to Venus. I bet cannabis might grow well on Venus if you had enough water there to help cool off the planet, because the water, the rain, helps cool things off when it rains. You notice when it rains, stuff gets a little bit cooler, right? And when it's cloudy overhead, the sunlight is reflected, and so it's not heating up the ground so much. I don't know if you can see on this, but that pavement's fairly warm. And these plants right next to it are getting some of that heat waves coming off the pavement, and they warm up the plants, and that is drying out these plants, right? Because that pavement is basically a heat sink for the sunlight. You know, it's turning this, it doesn't have any way to use the energy that's receiving from the sun right now, and so it's turning that into heat, right? We can measure that with a laser thermometer now. Thank you for whoever invented the infrared laser thermometer. I really appreciate that. It's enabled us to figure out the true cause and solution to the climate issue. It's there's another vehicle. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, there's been a steady increase in the total inanimate solar-facing surfaces on planet Earth. Those are the surfaces such as our roofs and our roads that, from a solar perspective, or, you know, up in the sky, if you were a satellite or could take pictures with a satellite and you had temperature reading for surface temp capability on a satellite, you could take surface temps of the Earth from space on a clear day, possibly, and estimate, you know, where the hottest spots are that need the most cooling right now, right? like the deserts. We need to get those afforested. That means to plant a desert in a place where it has yet to exist in our known history, right? We can do that by taking all this solar energy, just using it as it is without even having to need a machine to turn it into anything. We can just take the technology we know, which is that, dark metal surfaces absorb the solar radiation and convert it to heat. So we can use cast iron. And there's the technology of cast iron. Most people like to cook in cast iron. Cast iron is really good stuff, right? So we can use that technology of cast iron to make, whatever large size cooking pot, like let's say 10 foot by 10 foot, like a 10 foot or 20 foot, or you can do a 100-foot diameter cast iron pot if anybody has a machine that can make that, or maybe, figure it out, right? Figure out the technology based on what's needed, right? Necessity is the mother of invention, is she not? I don't know if you can see it in the video. I think I can see it on the screen here. It's a little bit of heat waves. See that vibration coming up on the screen off the road? That's the heat waves coming up. You can see that. That means it's empirical. Why is data called empirical? What does empirical even mean? That means that, let's say it's the type of knowledge. It's called empirical because it's the type of knowledge that you need to build an empire, frankly. If you recall one of the last major great empires before they fell, as most empires do, when stuff starts to go astray, from like the psychiatrists, chopping up people's brains and calling that therapy through, prefrontal lobotomy, or even their, nicer methods. It makes it look a little more nicer when they got that little frame on the skull, and they just drill a tiny little hole, and they just stick in it just a needle or a scalpel or something, not too big, and they just slice through some neurons here, and let's slice through some neurons there. And well, if we cut up this brain tissue, maybe that'll help the patient somehow, because we've, But how do they know which neurons to slice? Let's ask them that question, right? It's not a real science, folks. There's no way to know which neurons to slice. The answer to that question is, please don't slice my neurons. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, excuse me, Mr. Psychiatrist. I've been reading about your therapy practices with the psychosurgery. It sounds kind of interesting to me. And I was wondering, if you slice my neurons, how do you know which ones are the right neurons to slice that are causing my quote-unquote mental illness? Out of your book, The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Illnesses, the DSM, that what gives them legitimacy, quote-unquote, to practice and torture people in the name of therapy. Oh my God, it's such a tragedy, all the crimes they've committed. Really it is. But please do not take anything I have said as a reason to practice hate. That is not the message I am sharing. This is a message of peace and love. Use your tools to study, to understand, to be able to better communicate. Okay, if you know what I mean. Communication is the exchange of ideas through space and time. Wow. That's a pretty fundamental idea right there. So if you can do that, and you can get your ideas across to people, then you can effectively, get your message across, which is really important. But to do that, you have to understand what the words that you're using actually mean, so that the person on the receiving end, hopefully, who also knows what those words means, actually receives the idea in their mind that you intended for them to receive in your mind. That's called duplication. That's from Scientology by L. Ron Hubbard, who taught me in my present lifetime the power of obnosis, which means to observe the obvious. Like, there's a truck back there, I can see that in that rear mirror. It's an obvious fact. There's a pile of whatever mulch is, dirt stuff, These are obvious facts, folks. The things you can see, that's empirical. So thank you to LRH for teaching me to look up in a dictionary and clear words and stuff, because believe it or not, folks, I was like you once. I didn't know all this stuff. I went to Portland Public High School in Oregon. Okay, I went to Portland Public Schools, just so you know. I know it's a big category. I'm not trying to give too much information and disclose my true identity, because, there are still evil forces out there, like psychiatry, with their electroshock therapy, which basically fries the brain. You can do an experiment yourself. If you take a hot dog, it's, not quite brain tissue, but it is still got some meat and some fat and some salt in there. It's, basic components of what's in the brain, but the brain's obviously much more delicate, sophisticated instrument. The brain operates on electricity too, so it conducts a little bit of electricity, so that's what they're doing when they run the electroconvulsive shock through you, right? As they are basically frying your brain a little bit or a lot, depending on how much juice they put through, which is up to the therapist. They just got a little control knob. It's like turning up the volume on your speaker, right? It's like you turn it on full blast and then the patient's just fried, or maybe just do it mildly at first if you like the guy and think, just let's give him a little shock to the brain. But either way, it's damaging. You're causing damage to the tissue. You're not helping the patient. It's a violation of the medical code of ethics, frankly, to not harm your patient because you are harming their brain tissue. That's not going to help them to think better. It's not going to help them fix any mental illness. What it might do if they survive the procedure, which many, unfortunately, I'm sad to say, if you look up the history, there's been a whole slew of casualties from the quote-unquote profession of psychiatry over just since America's conception, and only in the country of America, if you want to get down to that specific. Look it up, folks. If you are a freedom fighter, okay, if you are not afraid of tyranny, and you know who you are, then the real target, if you want to know the truth, absolute truth, like very much from the top as a minister that does have a personal connection with God, if you know what that means. The true target is definitely the psychiatric profession. Please don't harm anybody, but they need to be put out of business, peacefully. That's the best way to do things, right? Peacefully protest. There goes another one. Oh, look at that big old truck full of trees, man. Those used to be helping us breathe. Now they're gone, and you know how long it takes to grow one of those? A long time. And how fast are they cutting them down? So what's the math on that, right? It feels like they're cutting them down too fast is what I'm saying. We need to be planting more than we are cutting down and being sustainably harvesting and set up irrigation in the forests, right? With like the sprinkling water towers I started to describe earlier. At the top of that structure, the well with the solar panels, you put some, you get a water tower as well. Or incorporate a water tower by putting some, some bladders, stainless steel tanks in the core of the tower, as it goes up, so you got plenty of pressure. And you have a pump that's powered by the electricity generated from the solar and the wind turbines. And you can have a Starlink satellite at the very top, so it can be remotely controlled over the internet through space. I think we can do away with the cell phone towers. They are polluting our bodies. They're polluting our bodies with electromagnetic frequencies, which your body does not need and is not natural, and it's too much. And I think the 5G is an amplification of that. So I think 5G needs to be stopped. And again, peacefully, please, is the way. I'm not trying to cause any revolts here. We are all friends. We don't need to hurt each other. Even the people that are doing these things, please realize they are doing those things because they believe that's right, because that's what they've been told, and they've been told to believe what they're told and to not ask questions. I'm asking you to start asking a lot of questions and use the tools that L. Ron Hubbard has given us through Scientology communication skills and the study skills, the study technology. It's available for free online. You can go study it right now from your internet. No, Scientology is not a cult. It's based on science, based on observable fact, and you can see that for yourself. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm not asking you to believe what I'm told. I'm not asking you to say, please study Scientology because I said so. I'm asking you to check it out for yourself on the internet anonymously from the comfort of wherever you are. You can use a private network if you want to, be as secure about it as you like. That's totally fine, not necessary, but it's okay if you want to, if you have no idea, you just want to be careful, whatever. I get that, but really check it out, folks. It's not as scary. The reason why the media, the faux news, not trying to name any names, Fox. I know you're just a little wolf, likes to go around eating rats and stuff, but that's what a fox is, right? It's a tiny wolf. A fox is like a baby wolf. It's not even You know, it's like a fox wished it was a wolf. Now, if it was wolf news, maybe I would trust it more just based on the name. Or maybe tiger news or lion. Yeah, where's the lion news channel? That's what I want to watch. This fox is just like weak. Okay, there was it's dissing a little bit, but you guys get it. I think by now, hopefully. Anyway, if you go on Google, here's what you do right now. I know you've watched this, a lot of data to process. You're probably gonna need to meditate, calm down, chill your mind out, get off whatever drugs you're using slowly. If they're psychiatric drugs, because that takes time, don't go cold turkey. That will seriously mess you up. Take a lot of vitamin supplements and drink juices and organic fruits and vegetables. That is some powerful nutrition right there. Okay, please go organic just to help speed up that transition. If there's no demand for the conventional food items that are processed with genetic engineering and laced with Monsanto's Roundup stuff, because they spray it on the crops after harvest and during its growth, so the plant absorbs those chemicals, and it is still in the food in degrees, varying based on how much was sprayed on the crop. You see that? If you can test that, please do, because let's put them out of business too. That's all I got for you, folks. I just saw on the clock 21 minutes and 12 seconds, and I'm going to end off on that. Hope you all have a great day. God's bless. Namaste.